Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. It's our last day today in Singapore. In fact, actually, woken up early this morning because I'm going to be heading over to Indonesia this morning. Going to be spending the day in Indonesia, then coming back this evening and jetting back to London. And it's really been enjoyable over here. It was a really enjoyable game last night in front of a packed stadium here in Singapore, where Arsenal beat PSG by 5-1. Sounds like an amazing result. It was a great performance by Arsenal, but we're not getting too carried away because PSG did put out something of a somewhat of a B team. However, you got to beat what's put in front of you, and Arsenal were pretty impressive. Mesut Ozil with a good goal, from a good move, which involved Aubameyang, Smith Rowe again putting in a great performance. This kid Guendouzi that we signed that really looks like a really good player. This is looking like a Michelin tat, has pulled off another one of those signings where you think, wow, he's looked impressive in both games over here. And all in all, very positive over here in Singapore. Great support from the fans, and it's been absolutely brilliant. So really, really enjoyed my time over here. The team, I think they've already left the hotel. They're flying out this morning to go back to the UK, of course. They got that game over in Ireland, which we'll be at as well. But listen, they've really enjoyed their time here, really been relaxed. And Aaron Ramsey, who's been, of course, subject to a lot of speculation since he's been over here. He looked in a very relaxed mood yesterday. But reading reports today that Chelsea are looking to pounce if Aaron Ramsey doesn't sign a new deal by the end of the transfer window. They're looking at the situation very carefully. Of course, Ramsey, as we all know, less than a year left on his contract. If Arsenal don't get a deal done in that time, he's free to walk away at the end of his contract for absolutely zero. We've seen it many times before. There's been lots of talk since he's been over here whether or not he's going to sign a new deal. When he was asked about it the other day, he said that, listen, his representatives are talking, he's leaving it up to that, and he doesn't want to be asked about it every day. But it's still not been done. Now, Chelsea are apparently there and they're waiting in the wings, and they're saying to themselves, if this is looking like something that's going to run down and doesn't get done by that transfer, by that deadline, or, is struggling, we'll come in and we'll offer £30 million to Arsenal. We know that Arsenal are probably going to have to take something like that, or risk losing him for nothing or next to nothing in January. So this situation is getting really critical for Arsenal now. They really need to make a decision on what they are going to do with Aaron Ramsey. Are they going to meet his demands, whatever they are, on wages, whatever, and give him that deal? Or would they make him leave? It would be horrific if they made him leave for Chelsea. But listen, this is what's flying around today. It could just be his agent pushing out this sort of stuff to try and push his money up. This sort of stuff happens as well. But this situation is lingering on, and we've been here before, and we all would just like to see this one get done either way. Now, if Ramsey was to leave, would Arsenal move for one of the options that they've been looking at? We've known that Andre Gomez, that's been a name that's been flying around. Another name that was sort of mentioned right at the start of the window and has been mentioned again today is Dennis Praet. Now, he plays for Sampdoria, of course, a former teammate of Lucas Torreira in that midfield. A very, very good player, sort of all-action, box-to-box type midfielder who could come in, I suppose, and replace Ramsey. He's got a £22 million release clause in his contract, and it's said today that Arsenal are taking a look at him still. He's an option if Ramsey doesn't sign, and it would be a player that possibly they could bring in. But as I said, a lot of this is probably going to hinge on what does happen eventually with Aaron Ramsey. Now, Arsenal looks like they've been dealt a bit of a blow today in their chase for Ousmane Dembele. That's been another rumour that's been flying around, that Arsenal could possibly try and make a move for Dembele, who looks a bit unsettled at Barcelona. Didn't have the greatest of seasons last year. Didn't figure as much as he would really have liked to have done. Didn't figure as much as he really have liked to have done for France. And rumours this week that he was a bit angry because Barcelona made the signing of Malcolm, who effectively plays in the same position of him. And it's interesting that the Barcelona manager was being asked about this, Ernesto Valverde, and what he came out and said. He said that Dembele is an extraordinary player. The past year was complicated because of injuries, but even so, he has brought us a lot. The important thing is that there's competition within the team, and that there's a lot of matches we cannot handle. And he said we cannot handle those matches with only 11 players. So basically, what he's saying there is that, you know, they needed to sign Malcolm for the squad, but then Dembele is still an important player for the team. Now, again, this is all going to boil down to lastminute.com when it comes to the end of the transfer window. Will Barcelona say to themselves, well, you know what, we got Malcolm now, we can afford to loan? I don't think they're going to sell him. Well, they might sell him, but who's going to pay that sort of fee after the season that he had last year? I just can't see it. So a loan option could be a possibility. But it all depends on Barcelona. Are they looking to hang on to him, or are they looking to send him out on loan? And also the player. You know, is he going to be happy to just sit on the bench a lot of time? Because, you know, with Malcolm coming in, that is serious competition for him. I know what Barcelona are saying about, you know, the amount of competitions they got to play, but surely, you know, when you look at their strength in depth with the youngsters that they've got and that, surely you've got like youngsters that could fill in if they needed to be. It does seem strange that they brought in Malcolm, but listen, the manager's saying there that, listen, Dembele's still an important part of the team. Not saying he's definitely staying there, but he's an important part of the squad. We're going to have to wait and see how this one develops out. It's going to go right down to the wire. But the rumours, I think, even though Valverde's come out and said this, I still think the rumours will fly around. Now, Arsenal linked with a keeper today, and how many more keepers are we going to have at this team? You know what I mean? But linked to a keeper today, plays for Gillingham, of all teams, and that is Thomas Holly, who's a giant at 6'9" tall, massive keeper. He's from the Czech Republic, formerly played for Sparta Prague, but they released him and he went to Gillingham to play, and he's had a really successful time at Gillingham last season, played really, really well, and now Arsenal said to be amongst a host of clubs taking a look at the massive goalkeeper, and of course, you know, what is Emilio Martinez I saw playing last night for Arsenal. He's another keeper who's decent. Just on Arsenal's books, there's Ospina, there's Cech, there's Leno, you know, so many keepers at the moment. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the keeper situation. Looks like Ospina's definitely going to be on his way out. But will Arsenal bring in another keeper? We'll have to wait and see. But linked with this guy, Thomas Holly, today. Right, let's get into some of your comments. Courtney J says, I could see us getting Dembele on loan, but we would never pay 100 million plus for him. And I got to say, I agree. I can't see Arsenal paying 100 million. No chance. Look what the spending we've done this summer. King Hover says, forget about signing Dembele. It's impossible. Go for somebody reasonably enough to get. We should have gone for Malcolm. Barcelona signed him. It says a lot about his quality. We can still, though, get Bailey or Zaha, he says. Ben says, I still want Gazidis out. When Wenger got his 2-year contract last year, Gazidis said, Wenger has world-class qualities. You don't find a better candidate than Arsene Wenger, and we have the right person to move the club forward. Arsenal had an absolutely dreadful season. All those protests the last few years, Gazidis did nothing. In May, after everything, the man had the nerve to refuse to apologise to the fans that Wenger should have been fired last year. So he still would like to see the back of Ivan Gazidis. Marcus says, and you might see that because I still think it's a strong possibility that he could be going to AC Milan. Marcus says, Arsenal should try and sign either Bailey or Zaha. We need a winger to make this a perfect transfer window. One of those would be perfect. Why don't Arsenal move and get one of these? Is the money there? We're going to find out. Footy Bar says Dembele will stay at Barcelona 1000%, he says. And finally, Houso says Emil Smith-Rowe has a potential to be a very good replacement when Ozil gets old. What a talent this kid is. He's been one of the stars of all of these friendlies so far, from Bournemouth right through to these games in Singapore. I really like what I see with this kid. He might get himself a chance this season because he's looking really good. Listen, thanks for watching the show today. When you watch the show tomorrow, we'll probably be back in the UK, but we're off to Indonesia now. So if you're a gooner over there, make sure you check us out.